right.
Go ahead.
Well, with that, we will call the January 30th FARGODOME meeting to order. So Dan and Nancy, you both have your material in front of you?
Yes, we do.
All right, sounds good. All right, so with that, I guess first we will just look at the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Move for approval.
Okay, we got a first by Troy.
Second.
Second by Dave. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Minutes are before you. Would you please review them and see if there are any changes?
Move to approve.
We got a first by Dave, second by Blake. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right. Is there any old business in front of the authority? Okay, hearing none. New business, and we'll go to the general manager's report now.
All right, thanks. We will start on page 3. As is always the case with December meeting, November financials were not completed, so we'll just complete a quick review of the month of November, roll right into the month of December, and then year to date, which would be the year end for 2023. So on the left hand side of the page 3 for the month of November. 10 events with an attendance of just over 79,600 compared to a budget of 61,150. Total event income of just over 625,000 compared to a budget of 461,000. And indirect expenses of 494,000 compared to a budget of about 403,000. So we had a net surplus for the month of November. I wish it was March. Month of November of 310,800, which was favorably compared to the budgeted amount of just over 213,000. Leading to that on the concert side in November, it was a long time ago. Stick with me. I pretend to remember. We had Shania Twain November 5th, so that was well attended, strong per caps, so that was higher than budgeted on the ancillary revenue side of things. The NDSU games, we actually ended up with 3 NDSU games in November. Two. One regular season game and one playoff game. And obviously the playoff games, we don't budget, so that came in where you see the $51,000 above budget. That was due to not having that game budgeted, but also a little bit on the regular season finale being a little less attended, so that the corresponding ancillary revenues were down. Trade show size being 46,000 below budget. That was with the North Dakota Ag Show. After the 2022 show, they made the decision to drastically downsize their show, move it more to just a meeting event, and was not held at FARGODOME, but that had already been included into the budget. I do believe that that was not included in the 2024 budget, as we'd had that decision prior to that. On the amateur side, about 44,000 above budget. That was 2 days of Minnesota high school sectionals. That was the Dakota Bowl, which is the North Dakota high school state football finals. There's 4 games, plus the North Dakota high school state volleyball tournament. All of those had great attendance and above historicals, which obviously then affects the ancillaries of parking and food and beverage sales. So those combined to be about 43,000 above budget. The Health Tech Trade Career Expo, slightly above budget. That was mainly essentially due, it's not a huge revenue event for FARGODOME, but they had FARGODOME do all of the decorating, tables, chairs, drapery for that event versus contracting that out. And then the meeting rooms, it says it was slower, but there was a lot of activity with related events, but not necessarily the conferences and things, because frankly, we didn't have time for it. On the revenue side, interest with the high balances helped out a lot. On the expense side, labor was a bit above budget. A lot of overtime in the month of November. Operations, we had higher equipment expense and preparations as we kind of knew where the final numbers were coming in, so we maybe started buying ahead for some things in November. And then the food and beverage management fee and contract expense all related to more food and beverage sales, high sales at the events, so the different percentages that are paid to NDSU and or OVG were higher. Questions on the month of November? Flipping all the way to page 19 then, we'll just look at the month of December and then year to date. Final, starting with the month again on the left-hand side of the page. 3 events with attendance of just about 7,000 compared to a budget of 4,500. That was essentially all related to the Rumble on the Red tournament, wrestling tournament that happens typically between Christmas and New Year's. Very strong attendance, lots of wrestlers, so again, kind of resulted in higher food and beverage sales and parking. So that was about $24,000 above budget. On the NDSU, that's just a note from the November games. Some changes to the cost of goods reporting. Never trust a computer, so the physical count showed it up, so they put there and put it towards NDSU. Again, on the revenue side, interest rate was higher. Expense side, with labor, $23,000 above budget. That is, as we talked about in October, November. December is the sick leave accrual payout as well as any vacation accruals. We know that doesn't get budgeted. We really don't know what it's going to be. We just take that in December. In operations, above budget, a lot of equipment expense and maintenance supplies, janitorial supplies as we were getting ready for 2024. And some of that actually was offset. We did have lower steam heating and electricity for that month as well. Any questions on the month of December? It's interesting. We had obviously far less snow than we have the last 2 seasons, but that rain and ice right around Christmas and into New Year's when we have Rumble on the Red going on. We go through a lot of chemical for spraying, so we have a little less labor, but we have a lot more equipment expense throwing all that ice out to avoid the slips. So that means the final year numbers come in with, we had 82 events with attendance of just about 465,000 compared to a budget of 428,000. We had net event income of just over $4,025,000 compared to a budget of about $3,220,000. We did have higher expenses of just about $5,475,000 compared to $5,030,000. However, we did end up with a very strong surplus for 2024 of $595,000 compared to the budget of $10,500. Obviously, it was a very busy, extremely busy year, but a very busy year for high-profile events with a lot of the concerts that we had. Unfortunately, in our industry, we're also only judged by the last year, so that makes 24 a bummer, no matter what, but we're keeping to go on that. But very strong year with everything, as you can see on the event comments, NDSU events better than budget, a little bit lower on the overall regular season attendance, but that's just the luck of the draw on the way the schedule's going. We'll see that reversed again in 2024. So looking forward to that. Very strong year on the concerts. Family shows were good. The festivals, which is just obviously Happy Harry's Rib Fest, slightly below, but the amateur sports had a very strong amateur season, as well as motorsports. Interest was quite high with the balances that we're carrying, as you can see on the balance sheet. And on the expense side, labor was above budget. We obviously had some open positions throughout the year, but a lot of overtime in very busy times in that February, March, April time period, August time period, and then October, November as well. And operations also above budget. Higher expenses, lots of equipment repair to a very hard winter that went very long into 2023, and then obviously steam heating with the climate and the weather that we had, particularly in the first half of the year, using a lot more with that. Questions from the group for 2023 financials?
I just say nice job again. I don't think Bernie was here last week, but yeah, great year. I mean, you look at November alone, you have NDSU football.
Let's not look at it too hard, though.
State volleyball, state football concerts, sectional football, career expo. I mean, the diversity of the dome.
It was. 2023 was definitely a highlight year as far as a very strong year for everything. Great event diversity, great events. All of our events are great, but highlighted events that really people sometimes pay attention to. As I said last week, it shows that we have a very dedicated group of people here to make this building run and operate and be quite successful.
I want to affirm that as well. I think it's absolutely amazing, and I think the staff probably doesn't get enough credit for the fact that it continues to run. On some of those months, it makes my calendar when I was working look like it's so busy. Yeah. Good for you guys.
Thank you, Nancy.
Mr. Chair, the financials for November and year-end December 2023 were received and approved at the Finance Committee here this past Wednesday. So at this point right now, I would make a motion to accept the November year-to-date and the December year-end financials as presented.
Second?
Got a second by Nancy. Roll call.
Blake,
Yes.
Troy,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes?
Dan,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I do believe it is important. Just final words on that. I think it is very important to celebrate the successes that we have. Sometimes they're few and far between, and be very proud of it. However, as I mentioned too, we also have to do a good job of riding the waves, the ups and the downs, which come. And this is a very cyclical business. So if you can't figure out where 2024 is from what I've said in the last 5 minutes, you're not paying attention. But we'll keep rolling it through and trying to go. But so far, it's been a bit of a weird year for 24 already, as far as calendar and scheduling and everything such as that. Speaking of calendars and moving on to past events since our last meeting, which was December 13th, we talked about it a little bit. Rumble on the Red, they've moved in and set up. Had registration on the 27th of December, and then their varsity, junior varsity tournament on the 28th, 29th, and their youth tournament on the 29th of December. We rolled in a unique event to FARGODOME, not necessarily to Fargo, but on the grand scale. Feed My Starving Children with their 10th anniversary event moved in starting Thursday the 4th and ran through Monday the 15th with a goal of packing 10 million meals, which was extremely aggressive, and they came pretty close. Not quite, but I think 9.8 million is a pretty darn good number. It was great to see a lot of community members. I know some of our building team members volunteered for a session, and a lot of different groups coming out to the event, and I think it was a great event overall. Something that may continue going forward depending upon just scheduling for all of the venues that are in Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo, and what their schedule needs to be as well. Like I said, that event ran through the 15th. Had some meeting room activity on the 16th and 17th, and then we did do our somewhat annual Fight the Frost event the weekend of the 19th, 20th, and 21st in conjunction with Games Galore. That's just an opportunity for the parents to bring out their children to get rid of some excess energy. However, when it's 30 and 40 degrees in January, I don't know how much excess energy they had. So we did see a little lower attendance this year compared to last year, but I think that's several factors involved with that. And then this past weekend, Snakeville Productions, who does the sports show as well, moved in their Red River Valley Boat and Marine Products show last Wednesday, Thursday, and had their show Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this past weekend, which brings us up to today. Questions or comments from the group on past events? Okay, moving forward then, if you listen closely every once in a while, about every 15 minutes, you'll hear the slamming of the truck gates as the dirt is now being loaded in today for the Monster Jam. So that dirt will mostly all be moved in today, finished up tomorrow. And they'll start building the track Wednesday, Thursday, practice Friday, and then have the 2 shows of Monster Jam this coming Saturday. February 3rd, I believe the shows are 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock. And then they'll take until Sunday morning to get all the dirt out. We'll get cleaned up and flip over. Operations will do a changeover, and NDSU's Career and Advising Center will have their spring career fair Wednesday the 7th. Another quick changeover, and Kiwanis will be back in their February time slot, loading in, setting up on Thursday and Friday the 8th and 9th with the actual event from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday the 10th. Move that out and do another quick conversion into the basketball set or North End set, and the North Dakota High School Activities Association and the Metro Tournament Committee will be in on the 13th and 14th setting up, and then we will have the North Dakota High School State combined wrestling, and that's Class A boys, Class B boys, and a girls class. And actually, this year it's still 1 class for the girls, but even with Rumble on the Red wrestling, the increase in the amount of girls that are going out for wrestling now is absolutely phenomenal, and I don't think it'll be very long before they have to look at splitting that into two classes as well for that. But that'll be 8 wrestling mats, 3 days here. That'll end on the evening of Saturday the 17th, and the Red River Valley Home and Garden Show will start moving in on Tuesday the 20th, move in the 21st, the 22nd, and they will have their annual show Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the February 23rd to the 25th. They'll move out on the 26th as the Red River Valley Sportsman Show starts to move in on the 27th, which is the date of our next meeting. As you can see, very, very busy, not many open dates this time of year historically. That just runs, again, we go Sportsman Show into Disney on Ice, into the High School Activities Association new Division A boys basketball tournament. They're expecting great attendance for that. Right into the rodeo, and before we know it, it's the last weekend in March, and it's April, and it's Easter, and then April in the circus. So. Any questions, comments from board members on anything upcoming? All right, with that would conclude my report.
All right, thank you, Rob. We'll go to 3B committee reports. And Dave.
All right, going on to item number 1, which is the November-December financials. We have addressed that at the authority level. Number 2 is the projects. Rob gave project updates on the football turf. The winch motor conversion project is complete. Astroturf will be here back in the building in 2 weeks in either April or June for the repairs and the strengthening of the turf. And the other item that he updated was with respect to Verizon completed upgrades to the interior digital antenna system, which will allow for quicker, better access. Those were the 2 items that were reported under project and capital budget updates. The third item, C, escrow balance and performance, that is on page 33 of your packet. That's information from the permanent fund to be received, no action taken. With that, that would conclude the building and the finance committee report.
All right.
Is that a motion, Joe?
Yes.
All right.
Receive it that way.
Blake?
Yes.
Troy?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes,
Dan?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
All right. Item 4, additional items. Is there anything? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thanks, Nancy and Dan.